This segment is sponsored by ADR Law, offering collaborative divorce mediation. Get a free peaceful divorce consultation with ADR Law. Hi everyone, Kevin Wood on Long Island Talks, exclusively distributed on LongIsland.com. Back again, feeling funny, and I'll tell you why, because my guest here today is Chris Roach. We know Chris. We love him, Long Island guy. By the way, I'm just going to say the website right away, chrisroachcomedy.com. He's tall, he's funny, and he's not even anxious today.
I'm feeling okay.
You're all right?
I feel okay.
You know, it's so funny. We both got on with a little bit of cold coffee. I don't know about if yours is cold. I have cold brew here. It's cold.
No, I can't do that. My wife loves the cold coffee. I said, and I always say to her, it's like my coffee when it sits for a while. That's what it feels like. She goes, no, it's different. Because sometimes she'll have me go to the 7-Eleven, or she used to until we started ordering coffee online. She would have me go to the 7-Eleven, get her a regular coffee, a big gulp cup with ice, and she would pour the coffee into the ice. And she says, no, it's different than letting your coffee just cold. Cold.
I'll give 7-Eleven this props. After many, many years of drinking coffee, it's the one I can still always go back to. I find if you go to any of the other big places, we can mention name Starbucks, you get a little sick of it. So 7-Eleven's been consistently drinkable through the years. How you doing, brother? How you been?
I'm doing okay with this. With this, I told someone recently. I said, I was built for this quarantine.
Built for it.
For the staying home, and the only bad thing is my sleep schedule was always messed up. Now it is really messed up.
Yes.
I've been going to bed like 5 in the morning, and I see the sun come up. I'm like, oh God, I guess it's time to go to bed. And it's getting out of control where I got to start, even though I'm home, I got to set an alarm clock because it's getting out of control. And it's aggravating my wife too. She's an early riser.
Yeah, I'll tell you, on a serious note, the last couple of days after 8 weeks, I'm finally feeling a little bit of anxiety myself. And I wanted to talk to you about that, and I wouldn't ask you why we're feeling that, because the definition of anxiety is just it's there. We don't know why it's there.
Right. That's what people with generalized anxiety disorder, it comes on for no reason. And I used to say it comes on for no reason, but really it's your stress levels are not being maintained. So you could be like buying a new house and not even realize it's like a positive thing. And next thing you know, you're feeling anxious one night and you don't know where it's coming from, because it's almost like it's coming at the wrong time.
Yeah, and it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
We don't know why.
Yeah, it hit my brother. My brother was a highway police officer for the NYPD, and he's a guy with all this authority. And once he retired, he started having anxiety attacks, and it just like it's a life changer until you get it under control.
Right.
But with this time with this quarantine and everything, people are starting to, even people without anxiety are like yourself. You're feeling anxious.
Yes.
You're feeling anxious, maybe a little claustrophobic or...
Exactly. It's so funny. I never do this, and I walked to the water today, and I ate lunch on a bench like a 90-year-old and just looked at the water and the seagulls. Why did I do that? So it helped, though.
I know. And I said, you know what? I got to start going for walks. This is so funny. I never went for walks in my neighborhood because sometimes I would go to my mailbox.
You're like, hello?
Yeah, and people would stop and recognize me and go, hey, we really liked you on the show. How come they killed the wife? I'm like, oh God, I didn't write the show. I don't know. So
you can't hide you under a coat very easily.
No. So there was like times I was like running out to my mailbox like a weirdo, waiting for no cars to go by. Okay, I'm gonna get my mail. I don't have the answers.
So this is the thing about a comedian. You find things in not so funny times that are funny. What else are you finding funny about this time?
Yeah, I was. You find out. I started making a checklist on my phone of things that I learned about myself in this quarantine. First of all, and this is kind of silly, I just lately every night I've been eating marshmallows. I'm like, I fell in love with marshmallows again. Something silly like that. And then like I wrote down, I have sleep apnea, and I've always struggled with the CPAP machine, but being home every day, I've learned to get myself used to it a little more.
Okay.
Also, again, like I said, I learned that I need to have an alarm clock, whether I'm going to an audition or not. I have to set an alarm clock, or else I'm going to sleep till 4 in the afternoon. Also, I'm grateful for this office. I'm so grateful for this office because my wife and we get along. I love my wife, but it definitely, you need a break in this when you're in the same house. I'm like, I come in here,
First 3 days, it was so
Yeah.
funny. The first 3 days, my son came over to both of us. My son, he comes over, he goes, "You guys are going to be together a lot. You better get it right now." And we did that hour because he noticed. He was like, "Woo!" So we've been good ever since.
Because a lot of people aren't used to. People have been in marriages 20 plus years and they've never been around each other this much. So we're trying to, that's why you see a lot of people at Home Depot. We drove by Home Depot the other day. The line was around the corner because they only let a set amount of people in. So a lot of people are getting engaged in product projects rather. And I saw a meme somewhere. It was like 2 pictures of a guy, his version of what he thought the quarantine was going to be like, and it was a picture of him watching TV. And his wife's version was him with a hammer and a
or worse, no fingers because he's never used the radial saw.
Yes.
Right? These are all the things that have come because of.
Oh, and I was like, and then the unemployment, that's another thing. My wife still hasn't gotten unemployment. You want to talk about anxiety?
Yeah.
A good friend of mine just bought a house and he filed for unemployment 2 months ago and still hasn't received it. A lot of people have filed and have not received it. I'm sure. I'm just surprised this isn't like bigger news and people aren't
nobody's answering the phone either.
Yeah,
there's nobody you can go to. It's
like, oh my
just
God.
a wait and see.
I'm gonna have to stop mowing my own lawn. This is terrible.
Hey, I heard you did two podcasts now. So we should tell people you got a nice mic there, my friend.
Thank you, and everybody should know that you helped me out a lot with the audio and video pointers.
You sound great.
Yeah, I always wanted to try to get into voiceovers. I booked a couple of voiceovers in my acting career, but I wanted to get a little more serious, so I bought a better microphone. I have one of those boom arms coming this week.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, people want to hear what you have to say.
Hey now.
Hey now. Tell us about those 1 or 2 podcasts that you're doing. What are they centered around?
The first one is called Long Island Explained. And what's interesting is the host, I'm the co-host, but Steve Belanger is, I guess you would call him a plant. He's from Fall River, Massachusetts, which is the home of Lizzie Borden. And so he is looking at Long Island, the events that took place in the past and whatnot from a plant's point of view, where you have me I've lived here all my life. So we cover topics like the Amityville Horror House. We have like I never knew like the topics he's coming up with. I never heard about some of these things.
Yeah, because he's on the outside, and this was big.
Yeah. Like we did this episode on Father Divine. Father Divine, he had like a house in Patchogue, and I think it was the 60s or 70s, and there was like a cult following. And Jim Jones, who was behind that mass suicide, he looked up to Father. He copied Father Divine in a negative way, but that guy lived here in Patchogue. And also, I never knew that Nazis actually infiltrated us one time. There was a boat, like 3 or 4 Nazis came here and tried to, I guess, do a little surveillance. I never knew some of these things. The Brookhaven National Laboratory was once an internment camp for, if I'm saying that right, for the Japanese Americans during World War II.
Yep. The Tesla Science Center. I don't know if you've breached that subject. Yeah. Oh, just mention that to him, and you guys will have like 5 episodes at least.
The Tesla Science Center?
Yeah, his last laboratory is in Shoreham.
I didn't know that.
He will gobble that up. With you two can gobble that up. It's been covered. Just YouTube it after we get off. You'll love that. Yeah.
Because we did an episode on the Shoreham nuclear plant. We did that.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of interviews. One guy called a really cool guy, Steve Gutenberg. Remember him from Police Academy?
Of course.
He called us, and after all this time being away from Long Island, he's still a Long Islander. He's like, I miss going to Zorn's, and
yeah.
What
Steve's
a
on
good.
Cameo, by the way. I don't know if you know that. Steve, you know what Cameo is? Cameo.com.
They reached out to me and they wanted me
Do
to
it.
do that. Yeah, I've
Do
been
it. Hey,
something about
David Hasselhoff's doing it, so you got to do it.
yeah, I see it's really, really caught on. For me, I was like, do I want to charge people money for me to just say hello to them? It just felt weird, but I listen, if Hasselhoff is on it, I think it's all systems go.
Yes. Anyway, that's. I caught up with Steve there. I didn't use him, but I saw him there, and you get a little thing you can do and show people what you do. It's a cool idea. I think it makes sense. You know, we live in this age, by the way, where I always tell people this, and we're cut from the same fabric. When I was a kid growing up, my rock star, the people that I looked up to as rock stars, you never saw them, you never met them,
Right.
right?
And that
You
was
saw
part of
them
the
in
mystique.
you saw them in Cream magazine, and
Yeah, Cream magazine.
you might have caught them on what was it called? Dick something rock what was the rock?
Yes.
What the hell was it called?
Bandstand or something like that. American Bandstand, was it? Or
No, it
no?
wasn't.
Oh, no.
Here we go. Don Kirshner's rock concert.
Oh
Okay, I'm
my
totally
God.
dating myself, but that was on late, so I remember just like peeking my head from the covers and being able to
Right.
watch it. That was the closest you got to your idols. Now,
Yes.
you know that you're in entertainment, right?
With
Sometimes
social
people are a little
media.
bit too close.
Yeah, there's one. Do you remember when Meatloaf was on the show with Trump? What was that he had? The Apprentice.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now, I'm a big Meatloaf fan, and
Right.
then when you saw him on there and you
Yep.
got to know him as a person, I'm like, ugh.
Yep.
I didn't want to see him I always looked at him, that mystique, and then all of a sudden I find out like he was a little bit whiny.
Yep.
On that show. I'm like, oh, this is Meatloaf. He's a badass. I don't want to see this side of him.
You want Al Pacino to forever be 1974, not Godfather 3, by the way.
Yes.
He completely changed his persona. You have a ghost in your house, by the way.
I
which
do.
Is cool. Which is cool. Yeah, you got a ghost that keeps
Oh,
opening
the
that
door.
I love it. Which is fine.
My dogs. My dogs.
Oh, okay, cool. Al Pacino, we want to stay just like he is.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I heard before you got into comedy. By the way, did you go to Sachem High School?
Yeah, Sachem 86.
Sachem 86. So isn't that aren't there like 10,000 students in that?
There is even still
big district.
Yeah, I mean, for years, even still, like people will say, "Hey, man, I graduated high school with you." I'm like, I don't remember ever meeting you.
Right.
It was such a big school, and I don't think I was that popular in school. I was kind of a quiet kid.
Not a class clown.
I was class clown in 8th grade yearbook, 6th grade yearbook, 8th grade yearbook. Then 9th and 10th, I was still somewhat popular. And I started, getting problems with anxiety. I got problems with it. I had some, the anxiety disorder started kicking in, and no one knew what it was back then. Like my mother took me up to Stony Brook Hospital, and they were like, "Oh, you just need to learn how to relax." I was like, "Oh, okay, bye." Now if you took a kid to Stony Brook, they'd be like, "Oh, anxiety, give him this pill, give him that pill, give him that pill."
Right. Yeah,
so I think, from like 10th to 12th grade, I became like a hermit in a way. I would just go home and sometimes leave school early.
When do you start to develop the act, if you will, where you have the confidence to go on stage and all? When does that happen?
Well, that happened. Well, I've been doing it 16 years now. About, I would say about about 16 years ago, this company I was working for sent me to the Dale Carnegie Training Institute.
Yes. Wow.
And so it was the Dale Carnegie Training Institute for Managers. It was such a cool experience. But every week they would make you get up and do like a 2-minute presentation. Now, I hadn't done any public speaking since my book report in like 10th grade. And when I got up, the first day we got up just to say who we were and whatnot. And I realized, man, I have a really, really bad public speaking fear. So I said, I think I was 32 at the time. I said, that's it. I'm going after this. I'm going after this.
Meeting it head on. Yeah.
Yeah. And I found this organization called Toastmasters, which is a great organization. They pretty much meet in like almost like every other library across the world or wherever. There was one in the Deer Park Library I went to. But in what do you call it? In Dale Carnegie, it might have been like my second presentation. I made a joke and the whole class of 30 people laughed, and it took me back to being again in high school and elementary school when I made how good it felt to make people laugh.
Yeah, it does feel good.
And then I started adding humor every week because once the audience laughs, it's like this feeling of warmth just came over me, and I started adding humor to every presentation. And then at the end of the 12-week course, this woman comes up to me and she says, "Did you ever think about doing stand-up comedy?" I'm like, I may have, but I have this public speaking fear. And I think she might have been the one that told me about Toastmasters. Anyway, long story short, I'm looking through, I believe in, getting little signs from above. And I was looking through Newsday one day, and I see an ad, and it says Stand-Up University being taught right in Bohemia at McGuire's Comedy Club. It was being taught by my fellow comedians, Peter Bales, Steve Lazarus, and Rich Walker. And I took the class and I never looked back.
Wow.
Never looked back. It was like an aha moment for me. Like, this is what I was meant to do with my life. Cool. It was such an aha moment. I never looked back, that's why now with this pandemic, the longest I went in 16 years without being on stage was 10 days. And now it's been over 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah. I'm booking show. I booked a show for November. A lot of shows being rescheduled. Now the show in November, and I think what's going to happen as the entertainment world starts slowly coming back, they're going to start booking shows at half capacity. So say Governors in Levittown,
which is really interesting for a comedian, right?
Yeah. So say Governors in Levittown fits I think it's 250 or 300. They'll be filling the room half, which for a comedian, you don't want that, because for comedy to work fully, yes, it's so sensitive. Like a lot of times people will see us on stage and like, "Hey, can I book you a private gig?" And you show up there and they have a Mr. Microphone in the corner and no one even knows you're about comedy's there. Yeah. Comedy is so sensitive.
It's not a background art. You can do that with a guitar player and certain musicians. You can do that corner thing. And by the way, I do believe that should be upfront known. Hey, you're there to be heard and not to be seen, but not with comedy.
No, comedy. No, it's so important that they know a comedian's going to be there that evening. It's so important. And of course you need the right sound, the lighting too. I did a show in Boca back in January, and the lighting, and I rely a lot on my facial reactions and what I'm talking about. They could look at my face, and the lighting was so bad. It was like, and I said to the guy, they need to see my face. So comedy is so sensitive. And my point is, like, say I'll work at the Borgata, seats 1,000 people. You work there, say through Sunday through Saturday. It's a great gig. On Tuesday, Wednesday, the casino's a little light, and you'll get a lot of white hair coming in, a lot of elderly people. And let's say the room only fits 350. They close off the back of the room, which is the right way to do it. They close off the back of the room and only allow people to sit in the front section, because comedy needs to be up front and personal. And now people are going to be spread out. But, if that's what we have to do,
you're gonna go into a visualization mode. You might like think that you might visualize the candles are more people. That sounds crazy, but you're gonna have to do that, I think.
No, I've done that, and it's funny. Like when I open for I open for Kevin James a lot, name drop. I know certain people like the light, boom, the lighting in the room. A lot of people have their preference. I know with Kevin, it's down a little bit, so you really can't see all the people. And for me, I feel like I'm in a dream sequence. It's like this surreal feeling, like you can't see them, but you hear them laughing. I like the lights to be up a little more, so I can see heads.
Yeah, especially if you want that interaction thing. Yeah,
it's amazing how every entertainer, especially the big name entertainers, have their preferences. I heard I think it was Buddy Hackett said that the room had to be at like 60 degrees or 63 degrees. He had in his contract. It's amazing. And there's some other guys. One guy I know another guy every time he performed, he had to get a new pair of Nikes. You always hear these weird contract things,
Whatever works, like the Van Halen and the M&Ms.
Yeah.
Right? Remember that one?
Wait, hold on. The Van Halen M&Ms, I found out what that was about.
I know. You know what that was about? Paying attention, right?
There you go. There you go. A lot of people probably don't realize that knew about that.
Right.
Because if they don't pay attention to the small stuff, they're not going to pay attention to the big stuff.
Which David Lee Roth reported that actually worked out that way, that there was some kind of platform that was weak, and it was the same company, if you will, that missed that clause. So very smart, I thought.
Yeah.
During that time, the 16 years ago, during that time, who did you look up to as a comedian? Who really rocked your world?
Even still, I have this doll in the corner of my desk. It may creep out a lot of people, and it creeped out my dog when I first got it.
Mm-hmm. Ah, yeah, Rodney.
This is my comedy hero from Babylon, Long Island, Rodney Dangerfield. We did an episode on him. We did an episode on him on Long Island Explained. I think he's one of my comedy heroes, and also Jackie Gleason was just a tremendous influence on me. So a lot of people, if you watch me on stage, you'll see Jackie, you'll see, come out sometimes, a little Gleason, a little Rodney come out, because they were a heavy influence on me. My comedy influence. Yeah. I used to love Benny Hill too. And, and then I started becoming a big Kevin James fan, a big Kevin James fan. And I remember one time I'm driving with him, and let me tell you something. It never escapes me that I'm a guy from Ronkonkoma, and I'm hanging out and working with Kevin James. Because I didn't.
Although isn't he from the Three Village area?
He's from the Three Village.
He's like 10 miles from you. That's crazy.
Never met him before. A lot of people thought we were friends before. No, never met him before. I actually bounced when I first started working in stand-up. I was bouncing at Tommy's place in Port Jefferson.
You got to be kidding me.
No,
I didn't know that.
From Tommy, he was a good dude. And my brother ran security for him for a while. What I found out that years earlier, before it was Tommy's place, I don't even remember.
Oh, I know what it was. Here we go. Harbor Gates.
Harbor Gates. And who bounced at Harbor Gates? Kevin James.
Oh, my God.
Kevin James was a bouncer at Harbor Gates, same building. So, and he had asked me one time, he goes, who are your comedy heroes? I said, Rodney and, Gleason. He's like, yeah, I love them. I said, it's some other guy. He goes, who? I'm like, some guy from Long Island. He goes, and he took a minute to catch on. He was like, oh. But, I was talking about this on my Anxiety Sideshow podcast about season 2. We're rehearsing in the Monkey Fist security set, and I'm sitting at a round table with my script, and to my left, I can touch elbows with Kevin James. To my right, I can touch elbows with Leah Remini. And I remember looking up and going, oh, this is just, it blows my, and never, like I'm saying, these moments never escape me. Like I'm just a dude from Ronkonkoma. I'm sitting between these two comedy icons. But they were so cool. They made you relaxed around them right away. Like Leah, I hadn't even really spoken to her that much, and I'm sitting next to her, and in the middle of rehearsal, she leans over with her cell phone and she goes, can you help me get past this level of Candy Crush? And I was like, yeah. And it was like, boom, all of that that's anxiety, nice. Boom, fell right off me. Like 100 pounds fell off my back.
That's
like
nice.
When we were filming the pilot, there was the first scene I was ever in was a living room scene with Kevin and myself and the other two actors that were playing his friends, Lenny Venito and Leonard Earl Houtz. And I think the first take or second take, Kevin messed up a line and the audience went berserk, hysterical laughing. And again, that 100-pound feeling of stress and anxiety fell right off me. And I just felt like I was in somebody's living room.
Oh, very nice.
And somebody told me that, they think that these big name actors may do that on purpose because they realize that the way people look up to them or look at them in this, just amazing.
Yeah, famous guitar players don't do that. They just walk past you.
Famous guitar, yeah. You want to talk guitar? My favorite guitar players are, of course, Jimmy Page, Tom Morello, and Mr. Gilmore from the Pink Floyd.
You hit 2 of my 3. That's insane. 2 of my 3. That's great. I would have put I'll replace your Tom with Santana.
Ah. Oh yeah, Santana's incredible,
You know,
incredible.
so iconic of a sound.
You know, here's something interesting, and I'm working on a new song parody about Long Island, and I want to include like all the celebrities that came from Long Island or lived on Long Island. Two guys that were born on Long Island is Steve Vai is one of them.
Yep, Westbury.
And Joe Satriani.
Right next to him was a teacher.
Joe Satriani. Yeah.
Satriani was Vai's teacher.
Those guys are incredible.
They're monsters. We would see them constantly in New York City during the 90s, constantly. I just learned, I'll surprise you with it. I just learned the Star Spangled Banner done by Satriani, just completely the way he did it. I will share that with you. And I really,
Hendrix.
I respect him. He's great. He's absolutely great. I understand you love hockey, so much so that I'm wondering if you were going to be a hockey player before you got into the comedy industry.
Well, you know what? As a youngster, I wanted to be a professional hockey player. And then you realize, you know, I don't have the athletic talent. But it didn't stop me from playing in these midnight hockey leagues and whatnot. And again, you want to talk about a surreal moment. Here I am, a guy from Ronkonkoma. I get on Kevin's show and I get myself a publicist. And I said to the guy, I'm a big hockey fan. Can you try to get me some Ranger tickets? And he goes, yeah, sure. So I'm thinking, listen, I'll sit in the blue seats. I don't care. I just want to see Ranger hockey. So he goes, all right, show up here on the side of Madison Square Garden. I go through a private entrance. And I'm sitting they have a section behind the Rangers bench, which is like a celebrity section. I'm sitting in that section. Nice. I'm sitting in that section. And then this guy comes up to me with a microphone and a guy with a camera is following him. He goes, we're going to put you up on the Jumbotron.
Wow.
I was like, and I remember we were losing to Pittsburgh 5-2. I'm like, all right, yeah. And they, in between periods, it might've been, during commercial break, they show a clip of me and Kevin from one of the episodes of Kevin Kuwait, and then they zoom in on my face. And I got to tell you, it's the longest 5 seconds of your life, because they're 7 seconds, because they're zooming on you and you're going and you're waving. And then you're like, what else do I do? I'll wave some more. I'll give them a thumbs up. So, and then I started I'm in there and I became friends. Like I became really close friends with Ron Duguay, a guy who I looked up to as a Ranger fan. It was like a few Christmases ago. I remember getting a text from him. He said, hey, Merry Christmas. I'm like, Ron Duguay just texted me.
Isn't he like the best looking guy in sports too or something?
Yes.
Right? Yeah, I remember him.
Yes, he dated Cher. He dated Farrah Fawcett. He was a really good guy, and he's got a great podcast, Up in the Blue Seats, that he does where he gets all these old timers on. Another guy, I don't know if you're a hockey guy, but
I'm not a big hockey guy.
This guy reached out to me. If you Google the top 5 most hated NHL players of all time, this guy would come in the top 3. Okay, so I get a message on Twitter, a direct message on Twitter from him, and I'm like, oh my god! And he has an interest in learning stand-up comedy. So I'm like, hey, meet me at the comic strip on 2nd Avenue on Saturday night. He's like, all right. He shows up. Sean Avery. Anybody who's is an NHL fan, they know Sean Avery. And I met with him a couple times. He wanted to do stand-up, and he never did it, but it was just insane. Like, all right, I'm hanging out with Sean Avery. Is insane. One night I was like sitting next to Chandler. His name escaped me, from Friends.
Oh yeah, Ross.
No, the guy.
The other guy. Yeah.
I'm brain fog. And what a sweet man.
Chandler works.
Chandler works. I become close friends with Ann Burrell. We'll text each other now and then from the Food Network. And again, a guy who didn't get a break until he was 48. And these moments, like, I never take them for granted. And now I go into the Ranger games and everyone knows me there. And sometimes they'll put a different clip from Kevin Kuwait or maybe another show I was on. And I'm sitting there
You have that forever.
Watching. Yeah, I'm sitting there watching the game. It's just crazy. It's crazy, and I'm very grateful, man. Crazy.
But you're not known in the local 7-Eleven. I know that.
Local 7-Eleven. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's funny how that works.
Wait, that one blew over my head. Oh, you mean okay?
You're a regular guy. You're a regular guy.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get to that in a second. I love your faces.
Wait, one time I was in again. Yeah. I always say I'm famous in Ronkonkoma, and that's it. I was at Stop and Shop, and this woman comes out to me. I love you on the show. You mind if I take a picture with you? And I had just my wife said something like, could you run out and get me an onion? And I hadn't showered that day, and my head's a mess, and I'm not shaven. And that's when I realized, especially when I was on the show, I'm like, I got to take a shower before I go out and do my hair. I was in right after there was an episode that was based on my family on Kevin Go Wait, season 1. And where you get to meet me and my wife, who's played by Jackie Sandler. Adam Sandler's wife played my wife. And we had 7 kids. And I remember the show aired, and maybe a night or two later, I'm in CVS in Ronkonkoma, and this young girl, probably in her 20s, sees me and lets out the biggest scream. And I remember I was near the pharmacy. She goes, oh my God, can I take a picture with you? What are you doing here? I'm like, I live down the block. And it's people don't think,
what are you doing here? You gotta live somewhere.
Yeah. And, so I take a picture with her, and I remember turning around, and there are 3 people working in the pharmacy, and they're looking at me like, what the hell was that? I'm like, I look at them, I go, who was that? And they were laughing. They didn't know who I was or what happened, which happened.
Right.
Yeah.
The craziest things out there. Let's go back into the past again, and you had a couple of professions that a little birdie told me about, and I'll have you mention them. One was you were a special store manager or owner.
I was. About that? Yes. Allow me to take a sip of my coffee first.
Yeah, maybe I'll take one too for this.
Yeah. Edit this out.
Give me a burp if you want.
It's cold coffee.
See, I told you you'd end up cold.
So, I think I was out of work. I must have been 22 years old. And the guy up the block from us, who I hung out with his brother as a kid, he opened up this store on North Ocean Avenue. And my brother said to him, hey, my brother Chris isn't working. He goes, well, tell him to stop by the store. And I stopped by there. I ended up working there for 4 years. And then I ended up going to the police department. The police department, that didn't work out. It wasn't for me. That was for 3 years.
On the island or in
New York City?
Uh-huh.
Because my dad's NYPD, my 2 brothers NYPD,
really?
And my sister's NYPD. All retired now. So I ended up going back to work for this company. There was new owners. And I worked for them for another 8 years. Mm-hmm. And it was an adult entertainment store. Which in my 20s, it was funny. Hey, Roach works in the porno store. And, but then when I came back from this is 7 years later, this new company takes it over, and they said, hey, we heard you're, a trustworthy person, you're reliable, and we're looking for a manager. I'm like, and they told me their plans. They said they wanted to basically take the outlook that people have on adult stores and change them to make them more appealing.
Acceptable. Yeah.
So what we did was, and I was proud to have cleaned up the image. If you ever go to the store in North Ocean, we designed it where, and along with their other stores, they had 5 stores at one time. I think they're down to 3 or 4. When you first walk in, we wanted to have a Victoria's Secret feel. Mm-hmm. And then when you get towards the middle of the store, a Spencer's Gift kind of feel, edible underwear, whatever it is. And then when you went in the back, there was, your hardcore items that vibrate and don't vibrate. But even then, we try to make that look a little less offensive, where we kind of categorized that we had a vibrating wall, we had a non-vibrating wall. I think there was a bottoms-up wall, rather than these in-your-face terms. And also, one thing I did was they had this crappy yellow lighting. I got these bright white lights.
Ah,
so
you got it the jewelry store look.
So
that's
now
one of the secrets there, right? White light.
Yeah, we got showcases, kept everything clean. So now the clientele started switching over, where you started getting couples come in, and there was that saying, sell to the woman, close to the man.
Mm-hmm.
I even I started reading books on retail psychology, and like things like they said, people don't mentally enter your store until they're 15 feet through the door. So anything you have in the first 10 to 15 feet is not going to sell. I would take these things into consideration. And also, I made also, they said a lot of places that tend to sell to women more do better if they have a place where a man can sit and watch TV. So I made a living room, where
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
And little by little, it started happening, where, especially like on a Saturday night, all these just regular, everyday couples would walk in and didn't have
the
to
regular
feel like
crowd shuffles in.
the regular crowd shuffles in, and they didn't feel like they were walking into a smut shop anymore.
Right.
And
I remember that. I remember passing the place. I think I've been in there a couple of times, and I think actually was, that's funny.
We tried to have fun with it. Like, we had like keychains we gave away with the logo on it. We came up with the logo. We gave away keychains. And if you ever drive by that store in North Ocean, the landscaping, I haven't talked to those guys in a few. It's beautiful. And that's another thing. The outside had to be beautiful. And they have sod, landscaping, flowers.
Right, because you usually associate that with the industrial section of Ronkonkoma, don't you?
Right, because there were some adult stores back in the day where you had to go to the industrial zone, and they had those peep booths, and it was really like that 42nd Street seedy kind of feeling. And what they did, and I helped them do it, was get rid of that. But then after a while, it was, once I started stand-up comedy and I realized that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, anything else was just killing me. So eventually, I saw the writing on the wall, and they saw the writing on the wall, and we sat down and we shook hands and I moved on.
Cool. And you would think that, just like all other retail, they were affected by the online business. Certainly the content, we know that.
They were really affected. And that's one of the reasons I left, because again, I was making a decent salary there with benefits, and they paid for my gas, my cell phone. And then, they did have, there was a video rental, as we call them, mood movies.
Mm-hmm.
They were no longer pornos. They were mood movies and instructional videos.
Mm-hmm.
They would never get anything that was too graphic coming in the door. Just, but then I remember seeing VHS switch over to DVD, which allowed us more retail floor space because of smaller boxes. And then they started showing movies online, and then that was like the dagger.
That's the thing. Yep.
Yeah. So now it's like, which is, I don't even know if they sell videos over there anymore.
Who knows? I think about the story of Hugh Hefner, who certainly died happy, by the way.
Right.
He definitely died happy. But what a absolute Amazon monster that guy was in the publishing business. And that part of it got decimated, completely decimated from a content point of view. It's pretty amazing.
Right.
So these stories are great. I wanted to ask you about this. I can't wait for your reaction. Your reaction to TikTok. I'm interested from the perspective is that I think, let me not put words in your mouth. I think there's actually some really good potential for comedians such as yourself, but at the same time, the guys like us feel weird even being on TikTok, since the average age seems to be around 14.
Right. You're right about that. I noticed that the more stuff you follow, it tailors it to what you're looking for.
Yes.
So when you see like a kid doing a silly video, you pass it, and you see somebody older doing a video, you like it. Next thing you know, they're sending you that kind of stuff. I highly recommend, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was feeling depressed about the whole situation. I said, do yourself a favor. When you're laying in bed at night, go on TikTok.
Oh, it's addictive.
And watch the videos. There are times I wake my wife up laughing because there's a lot of like practical joke lot of guys. This one guy is always like playing practical jokes on his grandmother, where she's outside reading the newspaper, and he goes onto the second floor and he picks up scoops up like a handful of yogurt and throws it down at her, and she thinks she got crap. She thinks she got crapped on by like a giant bird. She's like, "What the hell?" You know, and I'm laying in bed, I'm hysterical laughing. And I've been on TikTok maybe 2 months, and you know, I have 8 nieces and nephews, and I love them. You know, of course, I'm the favorite uncle, and I started making a few TikTok videos just to make them laugh. And
Right.
so I started posting them, and then all these other people are commenting how, you know, they like it, and I'm getting all these likes and stuff. I'm still new to it, but
So from your perspective and what you do, what I like about it, and maybe this is an idea for you, is like you could take very famous lines that, for example, Jackie Gleason was, and he's got a billion of them, and you can put your flavor and your mannerisms and your facial expressions over his talking, and you could do it pretty easily. And that's what I do like about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. People are doing movie lines. I see a lot, and maybe because I'm liking these videos, a lot of people, I see a lot of parents, like they're doing like dances in front of their kids, and in the screen it says, "My daughter is mad because I have more TikTok followers than her."
Right, right.
And the kid's looking at the cell phone as the mother's dancing, and the kid's looking up like, "Oh God."
Yeah. I would warn anybody listening to this that hasn't been on it. It can be addictive. You find yourself going, I can't spend the rest of my life doing this. No way.
An hour could fly by. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because
and they have a lot of they have a lot of like practical joke video, and it's all quick videos. They're all like
8 seconds.
8 seconds to 20 seconds top.
8 to 20, yeah.
And they have a lot of these like ASMR, that's popular now, the audio stimulating whatever, it's like a mind thing, right. Like they'll do videos of like somebody cutting up styrofoam, and you're watching like, why am I watching a video of somebody cutting styrofoam for a half hour? Why am I still watching this? You know, another thing my wife and I have been watching during dinner time, we like to watch mindless TV. Did you ever see these guys, I don't know what country they're from, they have one tool, like a metal rod, and they build these elaborate swimming pools by chipping away dirt. They just chip away dirt, and you know, it's in that fast motion photography.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Usually in India or something like that.
It looks like,
right?
It looks like the guy, definitely a native, an island, or the guy has nothing but shorts, you know, very, very tan, and has
captivating.
Yes. And like, how did this guy, here I am, like, I'm contemplating mowing my own lawn, and this guy is building this elaborate swimming pool with a metal stick by chipping away dirt, and he's bringing in water from, like, taking bamboo sticks and draining it in from like 50 feet away, the water, and he fills it up, and he takes grass and he plants flowers. I'm like, oh my God.
I know. It's unbelievable.
I'm sitting on my couch getting fat watching it. It's like, wow, look at this guy.
That's us Americans.
Yeah. Oh, that's totally American.
Chris, I want to go back to your influences for a second and just ask you, because your physical comedy and your aspect of facial expressions, which I think is 50 to 60% of sometimes why something is funny, the way you present it. So Jackie Gleason was awesome. His partner, Art Carney, was even more awesome in that.
Yeah.
But I thought you'd name some others, and then let's do something fun. I want you to make your stupidest face, and I'm going to try to actually mimic it.
It's going to be hard.
Because the only reason I said is elementary school. I made a lot of girlfriends making stupid faces. So me and you are going to get lucky doing this right now.
I have a few of them. Let me see. There's one that my nieces and nephews, they make back to me. It's like a demented face, and when I make it, my cheek muscles go into my eyes, and I start losing vision. All right, this is going to be a painful one. Ready?
This is going to be hard.
This is my demented Stan Laurel face.
That's Stan Laurel. I got it.
See my eyes? I can't see anymore.
Your eyes are open though. Mine aren't.
Then I call this one the angry turtle.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I have a lot of time on my.
Give me one more.
Okay, this is the one I remember I would do in high school and elementary school to make kids laugh. I would do this thing where I asked them to put a quarter in my hand like it was a machine, and they would put a quarter in my hand, and I would make the face. So I got to put the mic down for this one. Ready?
Okay.
Here it comes. I got to take my headset off too. Hold on.
Okay.
Here we go. They put the quarter in. Okay, I'll go.
That's sick. Yo, man, you know who you look like there? You look like, I'm not even going to do that one. You look like from The Town, that movie, The Town, where they rob banks. That was crazy.
All those creepy masks.
Yes. I will not do that one, but we got the two under our belts.
That's a great movie. That's another thing, sitting home this pandemic, watching a lot of series.
Mm-hmm. Taking in the content.
Taking in the content. I just started watching on AMC Creepshow. I love Creepshow. I love the movies. I love horror.
So do I.
I think I get that from my dad, who, and one thing about my dad.
I'll be right. Keep talking.
Go ahead.
Keep talking because I'm going to show you something.
Yeah. One thing about my dad is he almost taught me to go into a movie. Like if it's going to be a horror movie and you don't know anybody that's in the movie, you expect it not to be a good movie and you learn to enjoy it for being a bad movie. So we could watch a movie like one movie we always watch. It was called Q. Mm-hmm. Is that the name of it? Was
Q-U-E?
Just the letter Q.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah.
It was about a pterodactyl, or no, it was like a pterodactyl or some kind of thing that lived in the Chrysler building in New York and would only fly in where the sun was shining. So when people looked up, they couldn't see it. It was so bad. It was like picking people that were laying on rooftops on swimming pools, picking them up and eating them. And it was so bad that we could watch it and enjoy it. And that's what I say to my friends. I have a little movie club consisting of a childhood friend, a guy I went to the police academy with, my brother. And we go in when we watch a horror movie. We still enjoy it because we go in and say, all right, this is probably going to be a bad movie, but listen, we're out of the house, we're having popcorn and treats, and we're getting to, we make the best
and
of
it. You're creating your own sort of sub, if you will, content verses in it, to create what you want to create. But here, watch this. These are this is 2 of the 30 I've got.
Oh yeah, very nice. The Oh wow.
Huh? And they're bobbleheads.
I remember. Oh my God!
What's this guy? This guy with the mask? It's he's Jason or something.
Jason Voorhees. Can I tell you something? I did a show, Kevin. I did a show in New Jersey, and I never knew this, and it was in a part of Jersey that was like West Jersey. It was like you felt more like you were in Pennsylvania, and there was a lake nearby, and somebody said, "Yeah, that's Camp Crystal Lake." I was like, "What are you talking about?" They go, "You know the movie Friday the 13th?" I'm like, "Yeah." They go, "That's Camp Crystal Lake. That's where they film all the Friday the 13th. So I was like, "Get the heck out of here." Yeah. And every year, it's a big attraction during Halloween. Just like, say, a lot of people go up to Salem, Massachusetts.
Yep.
This town, I forgot the name of it, in New Jersey, is the actual Camp Crystal Lake from the first Friday the 13th. And
very cool.
Yeah.
And you're a freak about that series, I'm sure.
I love it. In fact, I was just talking to a friend of mine, and her and we said we're definitely going to the Thrilla Expo. It's every October in New Jersey. They have the Thrilla Expo where people will be there, like Elvira, or actors from like B horror movies will be there. Like who's the guy from Evil Dead, which is a fantastic series. Mm-hmm. Bruce, whatever his name is. We wanted to go this October, but now I'm thinking about it. I don't know if life will be back to normal by then.
Right, and you got to get back to work.
I got to get back to work.
That's the thing.
It's going to be.
People need you.
I know.
We want to laugh after this. Yeah, we do.
I need them as well, which is why I've been making. Silly videos. I just put one up on Up You Saw It today, where I'm playing with my chucks. I have like, when I was a kid.
Nunchucks?
When I was a kid, we were really like, say, 10 years old. My friends and we were really into Bruce Lee. I could tell you the movie Return of the Dragon. I could recite it by heart, the lines in the movie lines, and we would take our mother's broomsticks and cut them up and paint them and make chucks with like chains and screws and ropes. We both.
You say, where did the Long Island? This is like the 6th or 7th thing that we both experienced that.
Yeah, and so I would always I took karate classes when I was a teenager. I was a very skinny kid. and I took karate classes, and I got into that, and I started getting pretty good with these chucks. So I filmed a video of me flipping
I
them
can't wait to
around.
see it. I kind of remember loading them, putting a little lead. I kind of remember putting a
Yeah.
little something in there to make them heavier. And you were better if you made them heavier and did stuff.
Yeah,
You know?
they would swing faster.
Yeah,
But
harder.
that,
Yeah.
but they had a little weight. So I have foam chucks. I have a pair of mini chucks still that are like made of like cocoa bolo wood or something. That, man, like if somebody came into my house, I'm not going to stop spinning them around. I'm just going to swing them, you know?
It would work. Throw them.
Yeah. I'm not going to be like, like Bruce Lee in Return of the Dragon when he was flipping them around. My friends and I were like, oh my God.
That was the best.
Yeah. And then we all wanted to be Bruce Lee.
Absolutely. It was Bruce Lee that, and it went straight to the $6 million man.
Oh, I had the $6 million man doll. Did you see that movie?
Wait a minute. I'm going to freak out. Keep talking. Keep talking. I can hear you.
Oh, tell me you got a $6 million man doll. Or from that movie with Steve Carell where he had, what's his name? Seth Rogen's like, is that the $6 million man's? There he is.
Dude, can you believe you mentioned this and I bring that? Who would you know would bring this out in real time?
Wow. Do you have, does that one have the bionic eye where you look through the back of his skull?
Yes, he does. I don't know if you look through the back of his skull, but he's got that bionic eye.
Yeah, one of them had something where you, yes, I had him. I had Pulsar. Pulsar was just some guy you'd open his chest and you press
with
the
eBay,
back.
you can all have it again. Your life can come back to you again. And by the way, I have Evel Knievel over there too.
Oh, I had Evel Knievel. Man, he was a badass, that guy in real life. Evel Knievel. I have something here. Oh, who's that, Mr.
Show
Hankey?
me something.
I have like, my wife makes me put some of the stuff away because it's all over my office.
I just went through this. I had stuff in the kitchen on the cabinets. She goes, "This is going."
Micronauts.
And she's got the time to make it go too now.
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff in these drawers behind me. Micronauts, Squirmels. Hold on, let me see. Let me grab something. Hold on.
Grab something.
My friends and I that were into the Bruce Lee, there was a period where, and I did research on this, before Star Wars came big, there was Star Wars and there was another toy line, another comic book series that was going to hit. And it never quite hit, but my friends and I would collect these Micronauts, and they were like these little time traveler guys. There were all these like little spaceships. And
wow, I didn't know that brand. I didn't know that.
You could pop him into a car with this wind-up car, and he took off. It was they were like spacemen,
right?
And of course they were like enemy guys, and that was supposed to really take off. In fact, I think they were trying to relaunch it again, and this is from the 80s. What else? This is from, I remember having this. I remember bringing this to school for show and tell in the first grade. Squirmels. I don't know if you see them.
Yeah.
All this was a little fuzzy snake on a string.
Yeah, it kind of squiggled, right?
Yeah, and you wrapped it around your T-shirt. Squirmels. I know it's what the lighting is. And then here's this guy. How to get this when I saw this.
Love that. Love that. Where did you get that? I need that.
I might have got this when I saw it on. It might have been like Bed Bath and Beyond. I saw this. I'm like, oh my God, I had this when I was a kid. Retro. You take the magnet and you put the beer on his face. Yeah. So
you could do yourself there. I'm sure you do.
I got other stuff. I got more Micronauts back there. One guy, he's like magnetic. I have a couple of Beaker from the Muppet Show. A couple of Beaker statues. Mr. Hankey, the Christmas Pooh, I have him from South Park.
Well, it's official. We're both 7 years old.
Yes, we're trying to recapture the glory days.
Chris Roach, it's been absolutely amazing hanging with you today. Love the faces, love the comedy, love your spirit. I want to shout out to Angela, who brought us together. Angela, shout out to you.
Yeah, Angela Glizio, my buddy.
Angela. Moving up in the world from Port Jeff Station to Mount Sinai. On the North Shore, Angela. We like what we see there. Fantastic. Ronkonkoma.
The conch.
Conch. Oh, that song you did was awesome, by the way. We should mention that.
Oh, Ronkonkoma. Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Again, like I just wanted to make I made that video because I just wanted to make like my friends laugh, and it became like this viral sensation. People would write me from Florida. I was feeling homesick, and I watched this video, and it made me laugh. And you get those kind of comments; they feel good.
Well, the other thing about Ronkonkoma, and as you know, many of the towns in Long Island, nobody from out of state can say it. You can't say Ronkonkoma if you've never been here. You cannot even come close to saying it.
Like whenever if I have to talk to somebody over the phone,
correct,
an insurance company, whatever, and I hear a slight Southern accent, I'm like, okay. And then she's like, and what city are you from? I'm like, Ronkonkoma.
No
there's
way
like this,
getting that.
There's like this silence, and I'm like, you want me to spell for you? Yeah, please. I'm like, Ronkonkoma. You know, Ronkonkoma.
Pachugu. Yep.
Oh, sometimes I'll let them say it. They're like, and it says here you're from Ronkonkoma. I'm like, yeah, you got it. That's it. It's Ronkonkoma. The M is silent.
Possible. Chris, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the evening, the rest of the week, and the rest of this small little bit that we still got to get through, and then onward, you know?
All right, Kevin.
All right. All the best to you. You take care.
You too, brother. Thank you.
You take care. Bye.